I won't choose any of you. I will marry Kofi, the fruit seller.
The princess broke the rule and married the poor fruit seller.
The village of Luminia stretched like a jewel between rolling green hills and sparkling rivers. Early morning sunlight danced over thatched roofs, waking the market with color and noise. Birds chirped above, and children ran laughing along dusty paths. In the heart of the village stood the palace, tall and golden, a symbol of tradition and pride. Inside its walls, Princess Amara stood by the balcony, watching the villagers prepare for the contest. Her eyes, deep and thoughtful, lingered on the bustling market below. Banners fluttered in the wind, announcing the grand event, a contest to choose a husband. Suitors from near and far would come to prove their worth. Yet, even as excitement filled the village, Amara felt a knot in her chest. All my life, they have told me who I should be, who I should love, she thought, her fingers tracing the carved railing. Must my heart be another's property? The first drumbeat echoed from the courtyard. Her mother, Queen Isolde, appeared beside her, her face proud and expectant. Amara, it is your duty to choose wisely, the queen said, her voice both gentle and firm. A princess must marry a man of status, power, and wealth. Your happiness, though important, comes second. Amara swallowed, the weight of expectation pressing on her chest. She forced a small smile. Yes, mother, she murmured, though her mind drifted elsewhere. Down below, villagers gathered, chattering excitedly. Traders displayed their riches, knights polished their armor, and poets recited verses praising the princess. Every arrival seemed louder, grander, and more imposing than the last. Amara's gaze, however, found a small figure moving quietly among the crowd, a young trader carrying a basket of fruits, his hands stained with soil, his eyes bright and curious. He bowed politely to the princess, a simple gesture, yet it made her heart stir. As the day wore on, the contest began. Drums and horns filled the air. Suitors presented feats of strength, talent, and eloquence, each trying to win Amara's favor. And yet, her mind kept drifting back to the trader, Kofi. She would later learn his name, whose smile seemed untouched by greed or pride. That night, as lanterns glowed and the village celebrated the contest's beginning, Amara lay awake. The palace was quiet, but her heart was restless. I wonder if love can ever be real, or if it is just a story we tell ourselves to escape duty, she whispered into the dark. The next morning, the village market buzzed with life. Stalls overflowed with colorful fruits, fragrant spices, woven fabrics, and handmade trinkets. Sunlight shimmered on the river nearby, and the air was thick with laughter, haggling, and the occasional clatter of a horse-drawn cart. Amara, dressed in simple clothes to avoid attention, slipped quietly from the palace. She longed for a moment away from the palace walls, away from expectations and polished suitors. She wanted to see the village through the eyes of the people she had only watched from afar. As she wandered past the bustling stalls, her eyes caught the same young trader from the previous day. Kofi moved with ease among his customers, offering fruits with a polite smile, listening carefully to their needs. His hands were rough, and his clothes worn, but there was a gentle dignity in him that made Amara pause. She hesitated, unsure if she should speak, but curiosity outweighed caution. "Good morning," she said softly, approaching his stall. Kofi looked up, startled for a moment, and then smiled warmly. "Good morning, miss. Would you like some fresh mangoes? They are sweet today, the best in the village." Amara laughed lightly, enchanted by his simplicity. "They do smell wonderful. I'll take some, please." As he packed the mangoes, their hands brushed briefly, and Amara felt a flutter in her chest she had never felt with any suitor in the contest. "You seem different from the others," she said, curious. "They come with gold and speeches, but you speak like you mean it." Kofi paused, setting the basket carefully in her hands. "I speak from the heart," he said softly. "Life is too short for pretense. And I value honesty above all. Amora's eyes softened. In that moment, she felt seen not as a princess, but as a person. For the next hour, they talked quietly among the market stalls. Kofi told stories of his travels, of the struggles of village life, and the small joys that made it beautiful. Amara shared dreams she had never voiced before, her desire to explore, to love freely, to live without fear of judgment. And though neither spoke of the contest, its shadow lingered in the back of Amara's mind. Every glance at Kofi reminded her of the life she could have, a life far removed from gold, pomp, and duty. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the market in hues of orange and gold, Kofi bowed slightly. I should return to my work, he said. But I hope to see you again, Miss Amara, she replied, smiling. I hope to see you too, Kofi. She returned to the palace that evening, her heart heavy with excitement and worry. Could it be possible to follow my heart, she wondered. Even if it means defying everyone and everything I've been taught. That night, as lanterns glowed through the palace windows, Amara lay awake. Outside, the village slept, unaware of the small seed of love that had been planted that day, a love that would grow stronger with every stolen moment and every risk she would dare to take. The palace courtyard buzzed with excitement. Bright banners fluttered in the wind, and drums echoed across the village, announcing the day's competitions. Suitors from distant lands displayed their skills, lifting heavy stones, performing intricate dances, and reciting poems in praise of Princess Amara. Each display was grander than the last, designed to impress and dazzle. Amara sat on her balcony, watching silently. Her gaze kept drifting past the flashy competitors, searching for the familiar figure of Kofi. She felt a strange mix of admiration and frustration, admiration for the strength and talent of the suitors, frustration because none of it mattered to her heart. Her mother, Queen Isolde, approached, her expression a mixture of pride and expectation. See how they honor you, Amara. Any of them would make a fine husband. Surely, one of these men will win your heart. Amara forced a smile, but inside, she shook her head. Mother, it is not their wealth or strength I care about. I don't know if my heart belongs to any of them. Later that day, Amara slipped away once more, finding her way to the village market. Her heart leapt when she saw Kofi, tending to his stall with quiet dedication. You're here again, Kofi said with a gentle smile. I thought you might be watching the contest from the palace. I needed a break, Amara admitted. It all feels too much. I can't pretend to care about their performances the way I'm supposed to. Kofi studied her face, his eyes full of understanding and warmth. Then don't. Life is not about pretending. Perhaps your heart already knows the answer. Amara's chest tightened. Could it be that simple? That she had known all along? Yet the fear of scandal, of disappointing her family, gnawed at her. Just then, the sound of cheering drew her attention back to the palace. One of the suitors had lifted a massive stone, his muscles glistening in the sun. The crowd roared. Amara could feel the weight of expectation pressing down on her once more. I don't belong there, she whispered to Kofi, almost afraid he would not understand. My heart, it isn't with them. It's with you. Kofi's smile softened. And yet, you fear to say it aloud. That is the weight of tradition, but you are not powerless, Amara. You can choose your own path. As the sun dipped behind the hills, painting the market in shades of gold and rose, Amara realized something important. The contest was not about finding a husband. It was about discovering her courage. And courage, she knew, would not be easy, but it was necessary. The palace courtyard gleamed under the midday sun. Villagers packed the grounds, murmuring with excitement, while banners snapped sharply in the wind. Today was the day the contest would reach its climax. Each suitor had proven his strength, talent, or eloquence, but Amara's heart felt heavier than ever. She stood behind the velvet curtains of the palace balcony, her hands trembling slightly. The suitors were lined up below, their eyes fixed on her, awaiting her decision. The crowd cheered, unaware of the storm brewing in her chest. Her mother, Queen Isolde, approached quietly. Amara, you must choose now. Remember your duty. A princess cannot hesitate. Amara's eyes fell to the courtyard, but her gaze shifted past the glittering armor, past the elaborate silks, past the grand gestures. There, in the shadows of the crowd, she saw Kofi, the humble trader who had captured her heart. Her heart pounded. She could feel the weight of centuries of tradition pressing down on her. The palace, the kingdom, the whispers of the villagers, all demanded obedience. Yet, for the first time in her life, she realized she could make a choice purely for herself. Stepping forward, she raised her hand, and the courtyard fell silent. Hearts pounded in anticipation. The suitors straightened, confident smiles frozen on their faces.
I will not choose any of you!
Amara's voice rang clear, trembling at first, then strong. I have found someone whose heart speaks to mine, whose kindness and courage surpass all wealth and title. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Some villagers whispered in shock, some suitors' faces darkened with disbelief. Queen Isolde's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes wide with astonishment. Amara's gaze lifted, meeting Kofi's eyes. His face softened with understanding and warmth, and he slowly stepped forward.
I choose Kofi!
I choose Kofi, she declared, her voice steady now. The man I love, the man who has shown me the truth of life, love, and courage. The silence stretched, then broke into murmurs of disbelief. Some villagers frowned, confused by this defiance of tradition. Others began to smile, inspired by the bravery of the princess who had dared to follow her heart. Kofi bowed deeply, his voice humble but steady. I am honored beyond words. Princess Amara, I will cherish you, not for your title, but for who you are. A tear slipped down Amara's cheek, and she brushed it away, smiling through the fear and exhilaration. For the first time, she felt free. The weight of expectation lifted, replaced by the warmth of love and courage. Her mother approached slowly, her expression unreadable. Then, after a long pause, she spoke softly, almost to herself, perhaps love is the truest duty of all. The crowd erupted in whispers, then cheers. The suitors lowered their heads, some in disappointment, some in admiration. Amara and Kofi clasped hands, hearts beating in unison, ready to face the world together. As the sun dipped behind the hills, casting a golden glow over the palace and village, Amara knew that life would not be easy, but love, true, fearless love, was worth every risk. Morning light spilled over the village, painting rooftops and riverbanks in soft gold. The air was filled with laughter and chatter as villagers celebrated the princess's bold choice. Children ran through the streets, carrying colorful ribbons, while traders set up their stalls with renewed energy. Princess Amara and Kofi walked side by side through the village, their hands intertwined. She wore a simple dress that mirrored the colors of dawn, and he carried a small basket of fresh fruit. Villagers greeted them warmly, some bowing in respect, others clapping in admiration. Amara felt a lightness she had never known. The weight of duty had lifted, replaced by love and freedom. Every glance at Kofi reminded her that courage had its rewards. Kofi looked at her, his own heart swelling with joy. You were brave, he said softly. Not just for me, but for yourself. You chose love, and that makes all the difference. They paused at the market square, watching the villagers move with renewed cheer. Amara realized that love was not just about two people, it was about inspiring others to believe in hope, bravery, and the courage to choose their own path. Queen Isolde watched from the palace balcony, a smile touching her lips. Though tradition had been defied, she understood that her daughter's happiness was worth more than protocol or prestige. Amara turned to Kofi, her heart full. I don't know what challenges lie ahead, she said, but I know I want to face them with you. Kofi squeezed her hand gently. And I will be by your side, through every joy and every trial. The villagers cheered as the couple walked together, their laughter mingling with the morning bird song. The day felt new, full of possibility, and every corner of the village seemed brighter for their courage. As the sun climbed higher, Amara looked at Kofi and smiled. She had chosen love over duty, heart over wealth, and in doing so, had discovered a freedom that would last a lifetime.